Martial Art Swap Chat. I'm your host, Master Zhang. Hey guys, we are on tour again. We are here in Marshall Township, PA with Sensei Valentino.
Hey.
And he's hosting an awesome seminar with an expert in Tongbei Chuang. We have Sifu Strider Clark. This is gonna be fun, guys. So real quick, Sensei Valentino, how long have you known Strider?
I met Strider in 2004 when he was living in Pittsburgh. He was training with his teacher, Master Zhang Yun, and I met him and started training with him way back then. Right? Yeah.
So, Sifu Strider Clark, could you tell us a little bit about, maybe, let's start with yourself. So if you want to just give maybe a real quick,
Quick rundown.
Yes.
I started martial arts when I was about 4. My father was really into boxing and street fighting growing up, and one of my first memories was having one of those little boards that you stand on where you hit the bag, right? And so he was teaching me how to punch from a young age, and then I got beat up at school, and I come home and he started teaching me basically how to fight, and that just started the interest in martial arts. So they enrolled me in a Taekwondo school because in my hometown there wasn't a lot of martial arts, and the closest place was Taekwondo school. So,
and can you tell them, the guests or the viewers, like where you're from?
I'm from Reno, Nevada. Yeah, just outside of Reno, Nevada. So I started Taekwondo in Reno. And I switched Taekwondo schools, and the master that run the school that I started with, he did Kosho Shurai Kempo, Filipino stick fighting, and he was a 6th-degree black belt under the founder of Taekwondo. He got his first black belt from the founder of Taekwondo. So when I moved to that school, it really expanded the number of martial arts I was doing because they were doing all kinds of training there. So I was doing Kempo, finishing my black belt in Taekwondo, and then doing the Filipino arts of the arnis and the eskrima.
Wow.
It was just part of the curriculum.
Right. Now, how did you get introduced to Tongbei?
Tongbei. So, my grandmother had a friend that taught piano to people, and one day one of her students that was Chinese says, I have to cut my lesson short, I have to go pick up my friend from the airport. He's moving here from Beijing, China, and he's going to go to school here, and I need to find him a job, but he's a highly accomplished Kung Fu master. And she says, oh, my friend's grandson does martial arts, maybe when he gets here to start, he could teach her grandson Kung Fu.
So wait, who was the piano teacher?
A friend of my grandmother's, a close friend.
So she started it.
My grandmother started it because,
she's the one that forced him to go.
Forced me to go because, I was already like fighting Olympic Taekwondo.
Right.
My goal was to go to the Olympics. I was fighting all the time. Anything that I could find to fight, I was fighting. And, I was right about to get my black belt, and so the first thing I asked is, I was like, so what kind of Kung Fu does he do?
Right.
And they were like, Tai Chi. And I was like, no, I'm not interested, because, I knew that Tai Chi was this slow exercise that old people do in the park.
Right.
Yeah, and so she made me go meet him, and when we met, I actually said that to him. He says, I do Tai Chi, and I said, oh yeah, that's what old people do in the park.
Okay.
And that's how it started. They moved the furniture.
And he is now your teacher.
Yeah,
right?
They moved the furniture. He showed me Tai Chi, and that's how it started.
Wow.
And because he did all these other Kung Fu systems, Tongbei was one that he also knew. And since I was young, he wanted me to start with the Tongbei first because the Tai Chi was a little advanced.
Now, you look very athletic, so he probably loved you as a student because...
Well, I mean, back then, I was what, like 16, 17 years old. I was a skinny kid, and it was from all of this training that put me in the direction of being in shape. you know, so the martial arts training. And after I trained with him about 3 or 4 years in the traditional way, after 3 or 4 years, you can become a disciple under the master, like join the martial arts family. So I went to China and trained with his family, and after I was there a while, they allowed me to become a disciple in the family. He actually sent me there and said, I'm sending a student, you train him, and if you like him as much as I do, then he has my blessing to join the family.
So his family, they all do martial arts.
Well, when I say family, it's like kind of like a martial arts group.
Okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really have like a school or association. It's like you enter the
So it's
family.
not like a commercial, like there's
No,
different-
not at all.
It's like the terms that you use for someone who's senior to you is your big brother or older brother, younger
Yeah.
brother. So it's like family terminology because of the close bond that you have to each other
Right.
and to the master.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty
So,
cool. Very cool. So your teacher that you met back
yeah.
back then from your, let's see, the piano teacher,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That kind of connected it, right?
1980s,
So
yeah.
what is his name?
My teacher is Zhang Yun, and he is a lineage holder in that system.
Right.
So they teach Tai Chi, Bagua, Xingyi, Tongbei, Chinese wrestling, a few others, you know,
Mhm.
just because in Beijing, that's kind of what happened is martial artists come from all over China to try to work in Beijing because it being the capital, they wanted to be bodyguards or work for wealthy people because that's where all the wealth was, in the capital.
Right.
So a lot of martial artists came there to make a name for themselves, to either, you know, get a job or work in security, do that sort of thing.
Can you tell me maybe a fun little story from your first experience in China? Like, do you have anything you can think off that's martial art related?
I mean, I think that you know, what was a lot of fun is, you know, when I first went there, I did not speak any Chinese at all, and they were just so warm and gracious. You know, I went to stay with my master's brother, older brother, and they took care of me. They gave me a place to stay, and he trained me every day. You know, it was like 8 hours a day,
Wow.
like a job. You know,
Yes.
you get up early in the morning, you have breakfast, then you go down to the training hall, you start stretching, you train, you know, from about 8 to 12, 1 o'clock, then lunch, then a small nap, and then you'd start like around 2 in the afternoon and go to like sometimes 6 p.m.
Wow.
You
No,
know, so
my students, I'm sure your students is what we talk about, never giving up. You
Yeah.
know, just keeping your eyes focused on the goal, whatever your goal is. And you had to have, did you have a moment where you were like, what am I doing here in another country?
Sure. I mean, the training
It's
was
very
the
hard.
training was very, very tough, and there was a time or two, like at lunchtime. You know, there was a time or two I went back to my room and I actually cried. You know,
Right.
like I was like, I don't, you know, I'm far away from home, and you know, sometimes you'd be doing a technique and it's like wrong. Do it again. 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 Then it'd be like, okay, I'm gonna leave. I've got some things to do. You're just gonna do this. You know, they leave and leave you alone. You know, practicing something for 2 or 3 hours. You know, so it's just a traditional way.
Right, and I mean, to do it here, there's so many distractions. You probably didn't have a phone. You're probably not allowed a phone,
There
right?
was no phone. I mean,
Yeah.
back then.
There's no
I
cell
mean,
phones.
I'm dating myself here,
Yeah.
age-wise, but there was no cell phones.
But can you-
And if you wanted to make a phone call to the United States, you had to go to a special place where they had a phone booth, and you had to
Yes.
pay, and they had to connect you to an international operator.
Wow.
And then you'd call, and it's like, you know, per second how much money it's costing to
Wow.
call. And you know, you're a student, so you know, I didn't even get to call home that often.
So, but that, I mean, think about, I mean, you're grinning right now. Like, to have this training. I mean, even when we train, we get interrupted. Not that that's bad, but
Yeah.
that's how life is.
Yeah.
But can you imagine just training straight through?
I
No interruptions, you know?
I know. And also training with the people that he was training with
Right.
Yeah.
were just,
I was,
because I've had
I was
the
very fortunate. You know, the Grandmaster, Wang Peisheng, was very well known in Beijing. You have to think he trained with one of the very last guards from the Forbidden City before the Forbidden City, fell and was no longer in power. So you're talking about a lineage, a group that come directly from the people that were guarding, the emperor.
So it's Wang Peiqing, Zhang Yun, Strider.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's pretty
You know,
amazing.
yeah,
I
so-
love the history.
yeah, the history is
How
very
they use
rich,
martial
very
arts
deep. Yeah,
to
yeah.
protect their country.
Master Wang's teacher Ma Gui is in the history books when the 8 invading armies, the foreign armies banded together to invade the Forbidden City, to take the Forbidden City down.
Right.
So they invaded the Forbidden City, were
Mhm.
killing everybody. When he saw that there was no way that they were going to win and everybody had fled and everything, he jumped on a horse with a broadsword and he went through the front gate,
Protecting.
killing
Yeah.
killing soldiers in a hail of gunfire.
Wow.
And he made it out alive, and a lot of people did not.
Right.
So that was like Master Wang's, first teacher.
Right.
Was someone like that,
See-
So, you go over there and it was serious training. They were like, and I have to say it was wonderful for them to be open enough to take a foreign student. There had never
Mhm.
been a foreign student in this lineage.
Right.
It was and you also have to think of the time. It was like it was 1993. China was just starting to open. There was not that many foreigners there, so it was a very different time than it is now. Yeah.
And I think that the other thing that bears mentioning is that the type of martial art that got passed through Master Wang is the original martial art. And so when you see Chinese wushu and you see people with flexible swords and kind of jumping in the air and spinning around, that was created after the communists banned martial arts. They just wanted to have something that resembled their traditional art. This is the art that
So
people,
that was like the Disney version.
yeah,
right?
this is the art that people lived or died by.
Yes.
And that's why it was kept very secret, because it wasn't for public consumption.
Yeah, there were changes made to the martial arts. I mean, they changed them to put them in the universities. They changed them so that people could do them for health, because they had a time when they were really trying to expand what was available to people health-wise, medically. So there's a lot of practice in the parks. The Tai Chi,
Right,
the Qigong,
right.
to improve people's health. And so things changed a lot, and there was also not a need for these arts so much anymore. Not all that much different than what happened in Japan. Kind of
Yeah.
same thing. There was no longer a place for the samurai.
Right.
So very similar. They become outdated. Guns come in, weapons come in, and also, the not wanting people to be able to use those type of
Right.
arts. They restrict, the practice of those things.
I think when,
Yeah.
especially the government sees how powerful they are, what they're capable of, because,
Not only physically powerful, but it bears mentioning that the philosophy is very powerful. What it does to empower people to know the difference from right and wrong. You're basically creating somebody that's going to question abuse in government, or question, abusing the people, standing up. So, that was one of the first things to be dismantled,
Wow.
when there was a change in the government, so.
Sensei Valentino I've heard about him, and I was pretty impressed. One day I was teaching class, and he came in. I didn't know who he was, so I thought maybe he's someone that was interested.
Yeah.
And so I was a little disappointed that I didn't get to see it. But he looked very happy, and I remember I went up to him and I goes, I introduced myself, and then right away he said his name. He said, "I'm Terry Valentino," and he said, "Here, I teach. I've heard a lot about him. He has a really good school just right down the road from me."
Mhm.
And he was comfortable enough to come and also talk about Sifu Strider Clark. And I have a lot of respect for that, because
Thank you.
I could tell you're very passionate about your style, and talking to your students,
Yeah.
they're also very passionate. I'm very passionate about my style.
Yeah.
And then here we have like this, you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, right? You're you're one of the few people, right, that can keep your art alive, right?
And with Tombay, this particular branch of Tombay that's out of Beijing, yeah, it's a very small group. Yeah, just because of the way that it was passed down. You know, they were very conservative and very protective of the art, and you know that's kind of a double-edged sword.
Right.
You know, you try to protect the skills, but at the same time, when you limit the amount of people that can practice and add their experience and you know everything, then you start to lose things. You start to lose things, and that's where it is at this point. Is that nobody even knows the style. Nobody's ever heard of it, right? And it used to be categorized as one of the 6 main styles of northern China. And you know, people know Tai Chi. People have heard of Shaolin.
Right.
You say Tombay, they don't even know. They don't know that if it's a skincare product. Or,
But see, that's
you know, they have no idea what
Right.
that is. You know, so.
But so how do you see Tombay in the future? Obviously, it's in good hands under your.
You know, I've struggled with this. I'll tell you this. I've struggled with this, and I've had people around me, like you know, good friends and mentors and different people, you know, pushing me to open it up and to really make it more available and to teach it and promote it a lot. And I've always had 2 issues with that. I think one is my personality. Is I'm not. It's not easy for me to promote myself or to say I have this ability. I'm going to show people how great this system is, because I feel like then I don't have the ego for that a little bit, which is probably not the best for the martial art. The second thing is this is a very violent, very destructive martial art that is, of course, martial arts were, you know, used in combat, but this is especially not a nice system.
But there's a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about it from that angle, and then the other angle is that the system is got some wonderful things, and it's very like pure. It hasn't been watered down or you know misrepresented or you know translated in the wrong way, or the skills you know kind of like scattered so much. So I've fallen into the trap that maybe some of the ancestors fell into, that it's like you don't like want it to get kind of quote ruined. And that's not a good view either, but it's still kind of there a little bit. So I struggle back and forth because, you know, with what this system has, absolutely, I could have really expanded this and maybe even made it, you know, a much bigger production and even a living, you know, of like making it a life mission of making Tombay as popular as, say, something like Shaolin, which is in the same you know, one of the 6 main styles, or Tai Chi, which is one of the 6 main styles. But I don't know. I think, you know, I'm kind of like going in that direction, like going to try a little bit now.
That's all you can
It's
do.
time, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's time.
He's very passionate.
Yeah, no, he's been instrumental. Well, look at why we're here.
Yes.
He's an instrument. He's like, you know, constantly, in a very good way, pushing me. You know, you should do videos, you should do this, you should do that, and I'm just like,
Well, Swap Chatter soon, in a minute, he's going to be teaching us some moves of the day, and if you want more, please comment, you know, or even try to look up, you know, you have information.
Well, I'm going to try to make that information more available.
So
like one of my
right?
colleagues was criticizing me for the fact that I'm not easy to get a hold of, but I'm going to try to you know change that. I mean, I'll
That's your
definitely.
secret.
Could you tell the viewers, like your website?
Yeah, I'll give the website. I mean, the website. I mean, if you Google Tombay,
Yes.
there's not a lot of Tombay on the internet. So if you Google Tombay, probably my name will pop up.
And we'll put
But,
that.
But it's www.tombay.homestead.com, and then you can reach me at whiteapefist@yahoo.com.
So I was searching
So the
the
email.
White Ape Fist. Could you tell them that is it a folk story?
It's a folklore story
Okay.
about a martial artist that, you know, met another one in a fight, and he lost.
This is back in the
yeah,
day
yeah,
in
a
China.
long time ago. But always these stories, and he was transformed into a white ape.
Mhm.
And then later on, he taught these movements and everything. But probably more likely, what happened is he lost the fight and just became depressed and miserable and was an old man with white hair.
Yeah.
That people learned.
He went to the woods and thought about it.
Yes.
And then became really
And
good.
then people talk to a white ape.
Yeah,
right?
and they talk to a white ape. Actually, in China, we studied white ape kung fu, but my nickname from the Chinese was black ape, Heiwan, because they thought that it was odd that I was white, but I had really dark hair, like dark complexion. Because when they thought of like foreigners at the time, so they were always like, tease me that I was a white ape, but a black ape, and I was tall, dark hair, and,
Right.
and so they called me black ape. So.
That's not a bad nickname, right?
No, I know.
Like I would get like I guess grasshopper, right?
Yeah, it's better than
What is
grasshopper.
It's
It sounds tougher.
right. So, but can you tell like the chatters also, they know like kung fu with all these animals.
Bruce Lee
or Bruce Lee, or now
Sure.
there's this Kung Fu Panda where they have.
So yeah, when we say kung fu is a very generic term that describes like all the martial arts that come from China, basically. And when you say kung fu, this is like a huge amount of different skills. And China's an enormous country. So when you say kung fu, there's different systems. There's systems that are strictly like, for example, like Chinese wrestling or something. It's
Yes.
purely grappling.
Right.
Then you go completely to the other end of the spectrum. You have some that are just ground fighting,
Right.
like kicking and all rolling on the ground. And then there's others that are mainly upper body striking. And then there's others that are very much like Taekwondo that can be 80% or more kicking,
Right.
where they're like just kicking. And then there's, some that are mostly weapons, and some are like from the Muslim influence, some are from the Chinese influence, some, so there's many, many different types of kung fu. Some are internal martial art, external. So it's a huge variety. So when you say kung fu, it's almost like saying the word martial art. It's like, well, which one do you mean? Because it can be vastly different. So basically what we say is like Tongbai is a form of kung fu.
Yes.
Tai Chi is also another form of kung fu. Shaolin is another form of kung fu. And the word gong fu or kung fu, depending on the pronunciation, you can have gong fu in anything. It means time spent,
Like
ability,
acquired.
acquired skill. So for example, you look at calligraphy, and you look at someone's calligraphy and you say, oh, this calligraphy is very beautiful. Whoever did this had very good gong fu. It means that their ability for doing calligraphy is very high level. Or if you look at a Picasso, you can say Picasso's gong fu in painting was a very refined level.
And to get to your question about Tongbai in particular, that each of these different Chinese styles have a different quality and a different flavor with which they fight. So Tongbai has a particular training method and body usage methodology and fighting strategy that makes it unique in and of itself. So you'll have a chance to
We're gonna.
to see that.
I'm excited to do the moves of the day.
Hi guys, so the move of the day is just going to basically talk about Tongbai and how it operates. Tongbai means through the back, meaning that energy moves through the arm, and through the back, making the arms connected. So when this arm moves, this arm will also move, so you're connected through the back. White ape, because the arms are long and relaxed. So we do like a lot of exercises to make the arms very relaxed so that the energy can move all the way down the arm so that there's no stiffness in the arm. After a long time of relaxing the arms, then the force can go down the arm. Then the arms become what we call heavy. Then in the fighting, the movements are much shorter, much smaller, but they have power. So in the beginning, we do like a lot of like large arm movements, and we slap the arm in order to condition the arms to make them hard when you hit. So we have like a lot of big movements this way, and then a lot of relaxing movements this way. So we practice this way, that way. So that's one of the techniques, is a chop, a hit, and a strike, right? And then there's throws and everything like that that we can get in on the next episode. So we'll have you throw a punch. The punch would come here, and I'm going to do it slow first, right? So you hit the body, however, here, this way, then punch, okay? So done quick, it's this way, and then hit to the body.
I felt that.
Yeah.
My hand's numb. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
And then you can add the throw, right?
Okay.
So from here, right, you hit here, you can throw this way, is one, if his head is down. If his body stays up, right, the body stays up this way, you can take him down that way, right? Take him the other direction, right?
I think I almost broke the camera.
So that's just,
That's-
yeah.
Guys, I mean, I know he's doing the circular motion, but I could feel it go down through my arm. I could feel the power. That was pretty amazing. Yeah, so hopefully, guys, please like and comment. We want more of Sifu Strider Clark. I'm afraid to shake your hand.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for teaching us Tung Bei. I hope you chatters enjoyed it just as much as me. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about Sifu Strider Clark, please, we'll have his website, information on how to find out more about him. Also, we have, I want to thank Sensei Valentino for hosting this event. Can you tell them about your school as well? He's going to be a guest down the road, so.
Yeah. Well, I teach Chitoru Karate, and this is the picture of our founder, Dr. Chitose. I also teach Kosedaru Jiu-Jitsu. I've been doing that for 46 years, and yeah.
How can they look you up? Just
Yosukankarate.com is my website, and we're located in Marshall Township Municipal Building. But if you want to get a hold of us, that would be the way.
All right, this last segment is, I'm going to ask Sifu Strider Clark, could you give us some words of wisdom?
I think one of the main things that I always emphasize is mental, physical, and spiritual balance. Those three aspects. So like whatever you strive to do, regardless, you have to have those three things. If one of those three things is not there, then you're not in balance. So you need to take care of yourself physically. So whether you do martial arts, or you go for a walk every day, or you go to the gym, you have to find a way to maintain your physical health. This is very important. If your physical body's not healthy or you're in pain, it's very difficult to do much else. I mean, that will consume all of your time and effort trying to feel well. And then mentally, you have to educate yourself. You have to be educated, empowered, and constantly want to learn. And when you have wisdom, then you kind of dispel the ignorance, and you're able to work with people and achieve great things. This is very important. And then you have to have some sort of spiritual pursuit. We're not on this planet a very long time, so you have to find out what makes you tick, what value you can bring to other people, and how other people and how the rest of the world fits into your life. So whatever that is, whatever spiritual pursuit, helps you, go that direction, this is very important. So these are three things that is very important. And
That's good. That's good wisdom, guys. And I want to thank you once again for making this happen. It's an honor to meet you. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please comment down below, like, subscribe. Please share this video, guys. As always, Master Zhang out. Whatcha?